Welcome to Building SaaS with Python and Django. My name is Matt Lehman, and on this stream, we work on Django apps. We're going to continue on that this evening. And tonight, I figured we would focus on building a settings page. So we've been on a journey for building my application, and it's a journaling app if you've never joined in before. And it does all the core flow, and you can sign up, but I realized that there's no off-ramp. And I had somebody who was beta trialing the service, and they signed up, and they, for some reason, unintentionally signed up for the actual paid part when they just wanted the trial, and they had no way to get off. So I had to help them manually, remove them as a Stripe customer from the Stripe setup, which is the payment gateway that's configured for this service. And I realized, you know what? We need to pause on the other things we were doing. We were actually looking into allowing for custom time zone configuration, and it dawned on me that that was not the right focus. We need to actually I hate this term, but I'll use it anyway, cradle to grave on this application, manage the full account lifecycle. So you need to be able to sign up, use the service, but you also need to be able to sign out and get out if you want to. So our focus tonight is going to be on, let's create a settings page, and then let's also do the work that will hook a user back to their Stripe dashboard, which will allow them to cancel their account if they want. So that's the objective this evening. We'll start with that. I think before we get into that, we can clean up a little bit with some pull requests. You know what? Forget that. We'll take a pause there. John, thanks. It's been a few weeks. I've been out with some work stuff and vacation and sickness and a whole mess of stuff. So happy to be back in the streaming seat here. So we'll just get right to it, and we'll do the pull request a little bit later. So let's think about where we want a settings view. The settings view that I'm thinking of is really going to be super minimal right now. We don't need a lot. We really just need a place to go. And I think that we can use the same navigation roughly that we have. So in our app, there is a nav bar at the top, and when you sign in, there's a login button. So I figure as soon as you're authenticated, why not just change that login button to be the settings button? That's going to be the place that people will know to go. So that's where I want to put the actual link. And then on the settings page itself, I'm going to keep it pretty boring. It's going to say settings, and then it will say manage your account or something like that, which will link them out and create a session. And we'll have to look up the documentation. I don't remember how to do this. I remember I did this in homeschool, the homeschooling app that I built. And the process of doing that will be tricky. HA, welcome. It has been a long time indeed. So that will, the idea is give them access into their Stripe stuff. If you are a customer, if you're using the service and you're getting Stripe, I believe Stripe will automatically invoice and does, if I recall correctly, provide links to your account stuff. So if you need to manage the account, it is technically possible, if I remember the emails correctly. But I want to give people the really obvious, here's how you close out your account kind of thing. So that's where we're gonna go. So let's figure it out, fire it up, and get to it. Let's start with our URLs of where we're gonna put this. This feels like an account related area, so I'll probably put this under the accounts section. Yep, that's going to be the most natural place to put this. Still not happy with how these comments had to be done, but we had to do this because Rough was auto formatting stuff in a weird way and deleting the little account blocks. I'm keeping it for now, but we may get rid of that in the future. So let's open up the accounts views. This is the other place that we want to be. And the view, let's call it, let's just keep everything as simple as we can. So I want to create a new path, and we'll call this creatively settings. And settings. And guess what? Settings. Okay. Didn't complain. Why did it not complain? I expect my editor to be like, hey, you've got to import that's not right. That's weird. All right, let's close this for a minute because it gives me some sign that maybe something isn't right. Did something change? No. You can still run the local server. Okay. Well, we'll roll with it. So let's go back to that URLs file. Sorry. Again, not positive on why that happened, but it's fine. We'll make it work. So we're going to go to our accounts views here, and then we'll add in our fictitious settings view that doesn't exist yet, but it will in a moment. So we'll have a settings view, which will correspond. Oh, I see it. Okay. Okay. Here's the problem. We've got Django settings, and now we're like creating this other settings thing. So we can't call it that. What's a good view name? I don't know. I'm not being very creative tonight. Let's call it get settings, or yeah, that'll work. I don't feel good about it, but it'll work. All right. So now this isn't complaining, which I expect, but this line up here is complaining, saying, hey, I can't find this page. Okay, so on this side, at the actual view, let's go ahead and make our view, and we can put it, well, I guess I don't care. We'll put it here, login required. It's not going to require a post. It's going to be an actual get page. We're going to render some stuff, so we'll call it get settings. It's going to take a request and show the user's settings. Okay. Rocket science, right? We are going to render. We're going to render a page that doesn't exist yet. That's okay. We're not calling anything yet. And this will be our accounts settings HTML template. And at the moment, we don't need any context. We might need some context. I suspect we will as we hook this thing up to an actual Stripe session eventually. But for the moment, we don't. Hold on. Settings.html. All right. So now, yeah, that's okay. You got me convinced, John. Let's change it. It's a little redundant, but I'm okay with that because it's coming from the views, the accounts views. So it's accounts views, account settings, which, whatever. And there we go. I'll leave the template as settings though. All right, so now we have a view. It doesn't, this is going to blow up. We're going to get a template error, but that's okay. We'll keep digging in. So let's go to our main template, which is where our navigation is. And you can see we already have this section that's about if you're not authenticated, then show the login button. Now here's where I want to flip the logic. I don't like having negative logic like this, especially if you're going to have an else. So the simplest thing we could do to get this page going is we could have the else right here, and once we indent it properly, and put in the settings button right here in the else. But that feels dumb because then you're saying like you're using a negative assertion at the top and then having the truth condition be there. So you can keep the code simpler by like, let's delete the not. Let's move this guy to the else side, and then we can replicate this and have our settings page be here. So that will feel a lot more natural to me from a template standpoint. And then we can call this thing settings. We'll keep all that stuff. I think that's it. I think that'll be everything to get it going. Let's try it out. So we've got our app over here, fired up. I've been out for almost a month, so I'd be pretty shocked if I'm still logged in, but we'll discover that very quickly. And we'll go to, what port are we on? Is it putting us on the same port? 5006. Have we been on that one before? Yep. Okay. So, coming to, whoa, what happened? Did I leave? Did I not save something? I didn't save it. Okay, my fault. All right, so we are not logged in. Let's go ahead and log in. Junk. I don't remember any of the accounts that we used. Sigh. Let's go about this a different way. Log in from the admin. Oh, that's a different port. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I really hate this port shifting thing that it's doing on my Mac. I have not been able to figure out why it's periodically like picking a different port. Like I've checked, done some like looked at open ports and just cannot figure that out. So we've got Matt, I think was the username. Is that right? Readme. Nope. Yeah, username is Matt. And the password is create horse, short for create horse battery staple, which I think is from XKCD. All right, so now we're logged in, and we come back over here. Okay, so we've got our settings page where we want it to be. And if we click on this, this should blow up, right? No template. Cool. Cooking with gas. So next, we need a template in the account section. Let's extend from base like we're doing here and create settings.html. Paste that here. Get rid of this stuff and change the title in the tab to be settings. And that should be like a header. I don't remember. All right, let's find another template that we have. Gonna be one that actually. Oh, but this is one of the weird ones. Templates. I don't want terms or privacy because those are like the legalese version. So show me one that has like a normal. There's the login page, super simple. All right, I guess we're keeping it simple for now. What I'm coming over here to get is the header. We'll call that settings and save it, refresh. All right, cool. So the next thing we need is what? We only want to show. So if you're a trialing user, you haven't signed up yet. We want to be able to say there's like a couple of states we have to consider based on your account status. And if you've never joined in the stream before, I'll bring up the account model so you can see it side by side. So we've got our models file. Your account that is associated with who you are is in one of a few states. If you are trialing, you don't have a Stripe customer account yet. So there's nothing to go and manage. So we don't want for trialing. The only thing that we actually want is for an active. So if you're active, it means you've gone through the process, you've signed up, you've put in your credit card, we've gotten the Stripe webhooks, come back, we've processed it, set your account to active, and now you have an account. So that is one where you need to be able to go in and cancel. The other thing that we will eventually need to manage is, are we missing a state? So if you become like delinquent on your account, we should probably pay attention to that. Like if you somehow stop paying, well, I guess Stripe will keep charging you. So let's not think of, I don't want to cover every corner case. We're trying to get the basics of the life cycle, but it's not critical that we get every single case right now because we don't have a truckload of users. If we had a truckload of users, all sorts of weird stuff would be happening. We'd be forced to handle it all. So I think we really just want to consider these two. You're trialing or you're active is really what I care about. Trialing is probably a place where we can put a call to action to say, activate your account. John, I'm reading your comment here. Save your open tabs, close all tabs, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you have no other app open. Then reboot. Then reboot? Oh, you're thinking like maybe Firefox has been holding on to the port? I suppose that's possible. I don't know how the browser would manage that. That'd be kind of like, seems like unless there's something weird about localhost. I don't know. You could totally be right, sir. So we'll keep that in mind in the future. So anyway, getting back to this, we've got trialing and active. So we need a call to action. So if you're trialing and you're like, man, I love this service. And again, I see there are 8 of you here. If you've never been on here, it's a journal. And it's a journal that works by sending you email every day. And you respond to the email and it builds your journal. And the cool part is every time you receive an email in your inbox from JourneyInbox, which is the name of the service, you get a random past entry provided to you. So you can be reminded of things that you did. That's what's cool about it. I've been using a service like this for a decade, and I'm replicating it here because the other service was having reliability issues. So that's what we're building. All right, so let's say you are trialing, and you're like, heck yeah, let's do it. And you don't see the big button on the main page, and you're like clicking around for some reason, and you get to the settings page. In that universe, we want to give you another call to action. Be like, go create an account. So we should do that. I don't know that we want to do that right away. That's not my primary goal, but that should be, actually, let's just file that in this bug. I don't want to take care of all these cases tonight. I want to focus on doing things that like flesh out the full life cycle of an account, and then also make sure I've gotten enough questions from beta users about like, it seems like I signed up and nothing's here. What's going on? So let's save this for another time. So let's see, settings page, call to action for trialing users. So that's what CTA means, or if you're not heard it before. And the call to action should be convert, sign up, one of those sort of things. That's the language that will help me remember. But it'll be presented in a way of like, yeah, make your account actually active. And I've got to figure out how to communicate that well. All right, so that's the case for the trialing user. We're going to ignore that. I am going to put some text here for a trialing user, because if we don't, what's going to happen is the empty state problem. I'm kind of maybe coining this. I don't know that I've ever actually heard this used much in the industry, but I had an awesome product person that I worked with at my last company. She was amazing, and I learned many things from her. One of the things that I learned was your users will see stuff when data is not there. They will do things, they will poke at apps, and if you don't think about those cases, they're going to be left coming to an experience that feels like, ugh, what is this? Like, I don't even know, I don't even understand. And that's because you didn't think about the edge cases. So if you know that there's a case where somebody's going to come to a page and it's going to otherwise appear empty for them, you have to think about this as the empty state. Like, what are you going to show when you're in the empty state scenario? So I'm kind of coining that as the empty state problem. So we really need to be thoughtful of those folks. And if we were doing this perfectly, I'd be like considering, like myself, I'm an exempt user from this whole account lifecycle because I'm the one paying for it. So I already get the bill from the hosting, and that's my cost there. But other people who might like, what does it mean if your trial's expired? What does your settings page mean? We should consider them in the future, but they're going to be a little bit lower priority for now. But the primary use case that I do care about is somebody who's trialing and somebody who's active. So we want to factor those two things in. All right, so enough talking. Let's get over here, get out of view mode there, and let's do some code that we'll get in the user account here. So we already know that the user is authenticated. That one is one thing we can be certain. So we can say, and we know that the user has attached to it through this one-to-one field an account status. So we have some of these examples somewhere in our template. So we can say user.account. If we can search for that, you can see areas where we're doing stuff based on the status. So we want to do if the user account status is equal to, and the way I'm accessing all the account statuses is reaching to the model definitions, which is why this looks a little weird. Like the only difference is lowercase s versus capital S. So the capital S is reaching into this inner class that's part of the account. So we got user account status with a capital S, and then we want to get access to somebody who's trialing. That's one scenario. The other one we want is to consider the elif case where it's the same. Actually, just paste this. Elif user account status, and then we want to change this to active. So those are the two statuses we want to consider. And then we want to end this block here. Okay, so hopefully we can refresh this. I didn't mess up any syntax. Sorry, I'm a little froggy. I'm at the very, very tail end of a cold. Thought I got mostly through it, but seems not. Ooh, I love it. I love when you get this accidental symmetry. This like, when it just perfectly lines up. This I never strive for it. Like, it's not something that I try to put in there, but there's something satisfying about that. Okay. Yeah, let's see. What can we tell them here? Wallison, that is a good question. Why not put it in there? And I could say, let me think on that. Because at some level, I can see your point. That would be like, we can have is trialing sort of thing, or is active as sort of Boolean flag states that would save us a conditional kind of comparison and tighten up the code. All right, I'll do it. Why not? You convince me. All right, so def is trialing. And this is going to be a property because it should be. And so we want to return self status is equal to self status trialing, right? And for the sake of completeness, let's put in the doc string is the account. No, it's not. It's obvious enough. I usually like to put in doc strings even for the mostly obvious stuff, but in this context, it's just too obvious for me. I can't bring myself to do it. Now, here's where this gets tricky, is like sometimes I want to consider more than just active to be like, and I'm actually debating if I want a property here for, like, this is a very specific thing. I only want this for the active status, but there are certain statuses that are kind of considered active that, like I said earlier, like exempt, that's me. Because I'm not paying for this, not directly, like, or not directly through Stripe. I'm getting charged by Heroku. So I want to be viewed as active. And then also anybody who's trialing should also be viewed as active. They should be receiving the emails. So for is active, what does that mean? So I think there's enough ambiguity there that I don't want to do that property for is active. I'll do is trialing, sure. But hopefully you buy my justification for why not the other. Okay. It's going to look a little weird in the future, and I'm going to always have to remember, like, what? Why did I do this? But it's okay. And what can we say for now? We can say, just for now, well, first let's get a proper paragraph that has some spacing on it. Did I already put it on the, okay, never mind. There's already some spacing. There's some margin here. So activate your account on the home page. That's a crap message. It's not, I don't feel good about it. But it will serve its purpose. And then This will be like manage your account for somebody who's active. HA, let me, I see your question there. I'll get to it in just 1 second. Oh, okay. So here's a funny scenario where the test account that I'm using is not an active account. It must be exempt. I must have marked, or maybe I have marked it as trialing, or I must be trialing actually, because it's only the trialing status. So this is what that person's going to see. So if they go back to the home page, it'll be like, here's the activate your account button. Oh, that's a good question, HA. So the question is, people like to make fun of Python as being slow, and why? And I think that there's some amount of trolling that happens there. Maybe people are being playful or jokey. Python is, okay, from a pure speed perspective, Python is not the fastest language out there. And there's a lot of reasons for that. It's called an interpreted language, which means that it doesn't get, the code that gets run does not get compiled down to machine code. And machine code is designed to be like, well, the fastest thing, as close to what the machine wants as you can get. So instead, there's a program that is Python itself. The Python interpreter is taking these your instructions from your code, and it translates them to faster than just pure source code. We can talk about the details maybe a little bit, but it's this intermediate version called bytecode, and it's like a shorthand, like a Morse code for computers. Like that's not a good analogy, but the interpreter is busy like saying, all right, I got your instructions, let me run them one at a time. And because of the way that interpreters are designed and the ways that they manage memory, it's not going to be as fast as something like what would be languages that are common and known. Rust is going to be very frequently talked about there. Classically, C++ will be in the same conversation. These are languages that go through a compilation step, and by going through a compilation step, that just means that they are kind of there's some processing that happens in advance, and you don't run the code directly. You run a binary, something that's created as an output. That's the thing that you run as your program. And Python is more like you basically run it directly. And so that difference between running it directly or running from this thing that was created in advance is that thing that was created in advance has 50 years worth of or more of like PhDs thinking about how do we optimize that stuff so that thing that runs is super, super fast for computers. And it's true. Like there are a lot of the tools that you would make that can be super fast, and you want them to be like your web server. You want that to be written in one of these lower level languages because speed is paramount. But Python makes a trade-off. So okay, so if it was left at that, you'd sound like, well, Python sounds awful. Why would I want to do that? The difference, in my opinion, is maybe a couple factors. One is speed of development. Python is very flexible in what you're allowed to write, so you can get your problem done, and maybe it's not quite the best perfect way, but it'll manage, okay? And it has to do with type theory, and I'm not going to go down that big exploration. The other thing is Python. I mean, if you like compare it to the most popular languages out there, it's like, number one, number two. It's in that conversation at least with that and JavaScript and languages like that and Java. And so it just has a gigantic ecosystem of tools that are available to you. So speed is a relative term comparing different things. If you want absolute speed on the computer running as fast as possible, then Python's probably not your choice. If you want to write your thing quickly and solve your problem quickly, that's a different kind of speed, right? And Python is absolutely great for that. So that's kind of the big argument there. If you want to learn more, Like, let's say you're like, I want to understand programming languages. Like, what is this interpreter thing? I don't get it. There are a couple of books that I can highly recommend to you. I will caution you that these will challenge your brain. One is called Crafting Interpreters. It's an amazing book, super well constructed. You can read it online. I would absolutely, and I guess it depends on how much cash you can spend on things. But it is a beautiful book. I have a paper copy. I should actually just keep it down here and show it off. It's amazing. And it will walk you through the process of creating an interpreter from scratch. And it uses a couple of different languages that you actually implement that in. And in doing so, you will learn so much about how programming languages work. So this book is amazing in that the author here, Robert Nystrom, Bob Nystrom, I think he goes by, he makes it available for free if you want. So there is a read it online web version, which is also really well done. His website, this guy cares about quality like I've never seen. So that is a good one. Okay, so that's not the only one. There's another one. This is more of the tome version. This is like all of the details that have like incorporates history. It's very like it is a fascinating read. He's got it like his own little diagrams everywhere. He's silly. He's got witty footnotes. Not quite the level of like Discworld, that kind of stuff, but he's a witty guy. So that's a good book. If you're looking for something tighter, that's a little bit more like just the facts, ma'am, then there's another book I would recommend, and it is called, I don't remember the URL, but it's Write an Interpreter in Go. And it's at interpreterbook.com. And this is written by Thorsten Ball. You use the Go programming language. And this is a bit more of a condensed version, but it gets you a lot of the same concepts that you would read or you would learn in the Crafting Interpreters book. This book covers I'll just say like a slower interpreter. Like that is the reality of it. But it still has some great concepts in there. So that's the interpreter book, and just for sake of completeness, I'll drop the Crafting Interpreters link here as well. That the Crafting Interpreter book actually has two different implementations. It's got the slower one, which I'm highlighting here, is in this little mountain diagram that is called a tree walk interpreter, and the other one is more like a Python where you actually write bytecode and explain what virtual machines mean and all of that stuff. So you would learn that in that process. So that's why I would like Crafting Interpreters is the one if you're like really serious about it. But writing an interpreter in Go is also an excellent choice if you're a little bit more strapped for time. Okay, so that's my end my soapbox thing about programming languages. There's some good books. I should have like some affiliate links or something I could share, but that's okay. For free knowledge. Give those guys some money. That's who really deserves it. All right, where was I? Right. So we're at the crappy mode of this. You've got the call to action of activate your account on the homepage. Not the best experience, but it's better than having just a blank settings page. Oh, HA, you're very welcome. All right, let's do what? What do I want to do? Let's open. Well, we don't. Yeah, it's fine. We can open the admin here. So we've got our admin over here because we're using the admin account for this demonstration right now. Let's go into the accounts, and it's this one at the bottom, and you can see we're in the trialing state, which is why I showed that other thing. Let's go in here and flip it to active for a moment, just to see it. And we'll save it there so we can remember to change it back when we're done, because I don't actually want to leave this active. I don't know why that bothers me, but that's just how I'm feeling about it. And click settings. All right, so now we've got manage your account. That is not the greatest language here. So here's what I want to convey. What do I want to convey? I want to convey that you can like cancel your active account here. So how should I do that? Maybe we just need a second paragraph to say like, all right, so let's see, we got class, we'll put some more spacing here. So we'll do an MB4. So let's check that. We got 2 paragraphs. And let's give them like some explanatory text. So we want to do your account status, your account This isn't a troll. What I was about to write was not a true statement. Like, it's managed in both. It's in Stripe and it's in our database. But if you want to cancel, you go to Stripe. So what kind of language can we use to like indicate that? So your accounts. Yeah, I'm just gonna write something and then we'll wordsmith it. Your accounts information. Nope. Your account information is managed. I'm just gonna be direct in Stripe. If you need to update your account status, there we go, or payment information, please follow the link below. Okay. I don't really like guiding people that way of like telling them to click links. Like, I think it should be natural enough, but this will be fine. Oh geez. Sorry. Too wide. Too wide. Templates. What do we have on our index page? So we're surrounding it. Okay, why am I not doing that? Probably. Maybe I should move that up, that content. Okay, what am I thinking? Let me talk out loud. So on our index page here, that's what I've got in this center thing. Actually, I've got it over here. We have a content block, which is coming from our base template. And it exists down here. There it is. Here's our block contents. We've got a main that's just in a container. So it does get some like, it automatically gets a little bit of margin on the x-axis. That's what the MX auto thing does. So we're immediately, and actually let me inspect and I'll just show rather than tell. You can see body, nope, main, there it is. You can see that yellow, hopefully, on either side there. And that's coming from MX Auto. And the other bit that it's coming from is the container. So the container, it comes from Tailwind as well, and it helps set different breakpoints. So at certain sizes, if we were to like resize the screen, let me grab, oh my word. Okay. So at a certain breakpoint, it adjusts again. And so I'm now at a narrower screen. And so the breakpoint for this is the margin is shrunk a little bit. And so that's all, we can get into media attributes and that's all controlled this way. Tailwind's awesome, taking care of all that stuff. But it still is like gigantic, you know, right? Like look at the amount of area, the amount of real estate. We've got 15 on this monitor, 1536 pixels wide that we can deal with, which is why we're stuck with like this this string, the sentence that just goes on way to the left. And I don't know, maybe you like Hacker News, maybe you like that style where it just like runs off. I don't. I took a course in college about printmaking, and I learned enough about books, and I got like the book bug, and it got me into typography and thinking about these things. And there have been studies on readability. Imagine that, 2,000 years of reading books. We realized that it's important to like think about how well you can write. And those studies say roughly, hey Rujan, thank you for the subscribe there. The studies say roughly that your the optimal like amount of reading space that your brain wants is the average person. You know, like there's probably people that can have vary, but the way that our eyes scan and jump at certain intervals is there's a certain width on reading material that is best. Because what happens is if you have a line that's going all the way across, your eyes don't make smooth motion. That's not how our eyes work. Your brain does some crazy stuff to make it think that it's smooth, but it's jumping. It's jump, 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 jump. Like if you actually looked at a human eye when it's doing it, it's jumping in like little increments as the muscles move. So you want to like optimize for a minimum number of these jumps. And so all this is to say is that the rule of thumb that you should hear, that you will hear if you do any typography research, is about 2 alphabets worth of width is what tends to be optimal for reading. And you can enforce that by changing what you set your maximum width to be on certain containers. Now, we've set our main container here to be like whatever. It's up to you. And that's really to allow for maybe some future state where we have a grid system, or like I've been thinking about a calendar, maybe put this in the middle and have different controls here and there. But in this current state, it means that we are left with lines that look like this. So just as I was talking through that process, I think I've convinced myself I don't want to put this in main because I do think that we want to permit this future world where we will have a richer UI and we can move text around and limit things in a different way at another time. However, that does mean that I need to replicate this div into my content block here, like this. So now, I'm going to move it all in. And what we should get on the other side is that this will actually wrap somewhere. All right. Now we can debate, should that be centered or not? I'm just using the left side for now because it feels fine. But the other bits that we can do here is we want to change this into a hyperlink, and then we actually want to get our session connected. This is where it's going to be a little annoying to test because I don't have an account locally for localhost that we can quickly do this on. Is there a way that I can test that without? Yeah, we could do it. I might just roll with it and like try and deploy and see if it's going to work. Sometimes you need to get a YOLO things. Not everything has to be perfectly tested. Shh. I don't have to tell it to everybody. Okay. So let's figure out how to get that link in there. We want to also have, whoa, hold on. I want to borrow the same link style that we're using in other places. And I really need to fix something is wrong with my syntax highlighting. And so what file type do you think you are? HTML Django. How would you look if it was just HTML? I'm trading off one set of syntax coloring for another. So the Django one actually shows the Django tags, which are probably more important. But then there's a lot of like value from seeing HTML color. Like, why don't I get both? Why not both? Sucks. All right, I'll stop being negative. Whoa, that was just wrong. Django. Oh, okay, let's get out of here. Go back in. Okay. So we can see the Django stuff. That's good. But really what I'm after here is making sure that we have the right syntax highlighting there. That's not it. There's some colors that we're adding to something. Let's go to the index. Where, come on, where is an anchor tag that is actually that has coloring in it? There, okay, there it is. Underline, text line, 900 brightness. This is something I probably should figure out how to like extract this out into just common patterns. We're still kind of like playing it fast and loose with some of the styling here. So for the moment, we don't have a link, but we want it to appear to have a link. So we're going to use a hash mark. And then we'll go to the end and close the tag. So that will give us a link here. But it's, you can see Tailwind is like, no, I'm not going to assume anything about your links. We're going to leave it completely unstyled. So the only thing you get out of this is the actual little hand that shows that it's you're about to click on a link. We got to give it a style, which is why I was coming to this class information stuff. Ooh, I bet there's a way, and I don't know how to do it. There's probably a way in Vim to like yank this. Yank is the Vim word for copy. Yank this whole attribute, because I could do yank around word, but it doesn't like that. It doesn't have the right semantic meaning, so it only gets to this space there. I want to yank like. All right. Well, I guess the closest thing we can do is yank inside the quotes to get that, and then class equal that, and then control. There we go. Cool. So now if we come back, we've got a link, and it's not going anywhere. All right, so this is where we need to put in some code that'll actually go to Stripe. And we'll need some data, and so on. But let's pause on that. Let's consider this a checkpoint. So what do we need to do? We need to actually make sure there's a test here, because if we run I have a fast coverage. That's what fcov stands for. If we run this, we'll see I don't have coverage for this new stuff, and that new model method that Wallison suggested. So we're going to do. Should I have an explicit test for the model thing? Is it worth it? Probably. I don't know. It's going to verify that do I care? Because it's going to run no matter what. If we render this template, the is trialing thing is going to run. And this is where it's getting used. So, okay, I'm not going to make a test for that. But we do need to test the actual view itself. So let's go to the test section here. And this is going to only need to work for an authenticated user. So we'll steal, actually, let's take this whole test class, paste it, change this to, I guess we named it account settings, right? Account settings. And so that's the name of the view. We don't need this for the unauthenticated because you can't get here, although we might want to test that in future. That'll be a different kind of change we consider. We want to force a login, do a settings page, and it should be able to return a 200. This is not like rocket science testing that we're doing either. We just want to make sure that it actually somehow runs and works. So we run the same test suite again. We should get 100% coverage at this point. Good. Very good. All right, so we've got all of our changes. Let's put it all together, look at the diff really quickly, and then move to a little palette cleanser with some Dependabot PRs, and then we'll get back to the settings page. So we've got our diff, we've got our new property, we've got the test for the thing, we've got the actual view. Here's where it's going to go. It's going to go at a /settings page, which we saw, and then the template itself. We spent quite a bit of time talking about the template, and then we have a way to get there within the navigation. So that's what that is. And I don't want to say this is done yet. And I didn't actually put in, whoops, we're not at the right issue anymore. Oh, stinker. I wrote down some stuff that I don't actually want to do right now. We'll just edit it. Past me doesn't know what future me is doing, or current me is doing. So what do we actually want? We need send to Stripe. That's the really critical thing. The other thing I guess we really want is create a settings page. That's what we just did. So this will be the first half, and the second half will be the what the settings page is there for, which we haven't done yet. So far, it's just like an empty page with a message. All right, but we won't deploy this until it's totally done because we don't need to. Well, maybe we will. I don't know. I don't know if people will care. And we'll say start a settings page. And this is for, I don't want to say fixes because I don't want to auto close this thing, for number 104. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and push this up, and then we can do some pull request review. So we have Dependabot. It's running regularly, and actually since it's been nearly a month, probably there are things that are not getting caught right now because I think I have it limited to 5 or something like that. And one of these is pre-commit. So we'll start going through these and updating some dependencies. We'll check. Wait, this is just something we have to do to like promise to maintain a site. So we got to check the release notes and what's coming out, what happened. Sometimes it's not super exciting. I understand, but it is part of the total experience. So the reason why I'm doing this and not doing this off stream is that I made a commitment as much as I can. There was one scenario where I couldn't, that had to do with like I had something very timely that had to be done to satisfy Stripe's requirements. But I'm committed to doing all lines of code on the stream. So if you are catching a session now and you want to go see how was this app on day 1, you can. There's a playlist associated with my account that covers this all the way back. It's the JourneyInbox playlist, and you can see it from day 1. And that's my plan. Like, it's going to be a little bit slower for developing, especially if I'm not streaming as much as I should be. But that way you can see every bit. There's no mysteries here. All right, let's look at this. So we've got, this is the thing that we need. I'm really concerned about with an upgrade to GUnicorn. We're barely using anything from GUnicorn. So I'm not like looking for specific features that are there. We're just using it as is for the most part. So what I'm mostly concerned about with what are the breaking changes? And thankfully they put them in the changelog here. So let's review this. 3.7, that's not a problem. Limitation on valid characters. Okay, don't care. So I don't care. There's, okay, that doesn't matter for me. HTTP methods. This is some weird stuff. I mean, this is good. I'm glad that they're adhering to standards, but I guess they're showing like we weren't standards compliance before and we were letting stuff through that you might depend upon, and technically that's a breaking change. All right, interesting. Browsers send something like HTTP 1.1, so that's okay. Whoops. And then, is it not scrolling? Come on. All the digits, blah, 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 blah. Okay, all looks good. Let's merge it. All right, let's look at the next one. Got DJ Stripe here. DJ Stripe is an annoying thing to check every time. Like, it's like Dependabot can't find the log, and if I recall correctly, they don't have the greatest of release notes to find, and you can't even get to the page not found because it just does weird stuff. All right, guys, please fix this. Gals, whoever, I don't care. I don't know who's on the DJ Stripe team. Release process. Like, I can never find this. History? Is it history? Okay, here we go. And then we're trying to upgrade to what? Now, no, it's not history, because look, this only goes up to 2.5, but we're at 2.8. So, no, it's not that, which means it must be over here somewhere. Is it on their releases? Is that where they're put? Okay, so, like, eventually you find it. Why don't they delete the history section? Whatever. I'm not going to get into that. So this goes to, and then this is not even it, because this only goes up to 2.8.0. There's not been an official release through this. It's literally just the commits. Okay. time to look at the actual commits, because that's what we're doing, I guess. I cannot bring myself to do this. Did you tag a branch? Okay, they tagged a branch. Hooray. Let's go to 284 and look at the commits there. There's a few here. Add document on verification report. Remove a main. Okay, fine. There's nothing here. All that work just to find is nothing. Okay, next. And in the background, these things will be rebasing as they notice, like, hey, my dependencies have changed. I got to update some stuff. Pre-commit's always pretty generic. These tools are stable enough that they don't tend to find that much, which is a good thing. Like, it means my code is staying compliant. So let's pull that down. Although I think I probably have to, for Django upgrade, need to opt into the version that it's targeting. But have we been up? Did we upgrade to Django 5? Requirements. Django 5. All right, so let's note that. Actually, let's merge this. We're going to pull down all that sort of stuff. And we'll do a pull here. That's GL is get pull is my shortcut. And then the other thing I want to go now. So now that we've pulled, let's go to the pre-commit file. And you can see my target version is set to 4.2. So we're on 5.0. We'll see if Django upgrade catches anything. The other thing we can do is in PyProject TOML, there are also settings to conserve certain versions of Python. And are we running? What are we running? What's that file called? There's a file runtime. There it is. We're running 3.12. So we should upgrade, or we can upgrade our syntax now to anything compatible with 3.12. Actually, let's take these in turn. Let's do the pre-commit with the Django upgrade, see what that catches, if anything. So we're going to run pre-commit run -a. So it's saying, what this is saying is run all the checks that you have, and the -a is doing on all the files that are known. Just got to go check those things, and because we've upgraded the thing that we're targeting with the 5.0, if there are any things that Django upgrade is detecting, it should find them and report them. So there were none, which means that I'm just not doing that much stuff that needs to change for Django 5. That's good. All right, now let's move to 3.12 and see if we get any other goodies. So pre-commit, run A. Again, nothing. But we're now at the versions that we should be on that we didn't update before. So let's do this. We'll say update pre-commit config. That's enough. And we'll push that back up. All right, almost there. We got Sentry. Oh man, I just don't even care. All right, I think I did this the homeschool app. So if I did, I'm just gonna go, you know what, take it, because there's too much. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I had to review. So let's look at the homeschool app real quickly. So that's under github.com. Homeschool app is my other project that I've done in this stream. I didn't do every line of code on this stream, but I did most of them. And it's something I'm maintaining because we use this app at my house. We homeschool my kids. This is for my wife primarily, and a couple other customers. And so I maintain it. And it does it every month. So I probably did it at the beginning of this month. So Sentry, okay, we're at least on 2. That's good enough for me. I'm just gonna merge it. Or let's look at can we look at the release notes for one? All right, cool. That's doesn't even affect me because I'm not on Celery. LangChain I'm not using. Not using Anthropic or Hugging Face. It's a bunch of AI stuff. Don't care. All right, so that's going to be Sentry. Now we're upgrading to Rough. Rough is being upgraded and then also run in CI, and it's running pre-commit. So there's no changes. It's really just an upgrade to there. Merge that. And one more. All auth. What did you do, all auth? Let's go to their changelog to see all of it. So we're on 611, so we need to look at everything. There we go. 620. The required dependencies are now more fine-grained. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. So I'm just using like core Django all auth, which is just like their email functionality. And so I think what this is saying is like the way it was Django all auth is awesome. Let's see, get the all auth documentation up here. They have a ton of different providers. So they've even like updated their website. Cool. Where are their providers? They're there. So there's all these like providers. Blah, like look at this list. And I think what they were saying with this change is they stopped being so monolithic and including, like if there were other things that needed to be included, they are not including them anymore. That's how I'm reading that anyway. And since I don't use those other providers, maybe I will in the future, but I don't actually, no, I won't, because this is primarily like an email service. So I need your email. So I'm not going to accept a Google login or something like that. That's no, not worth it. So I won't be affected by this, I think. Okay, cool. Noteworthy changes. Dummy provider, Atlassian. Let's make sure there's like no template changes or stuff because we have like customized some of the templates. Streamlined. Logging in by email. Nope. Not doing the magic code thing. Always stored in lowercase. Okay. URLs were not hackable. Interesting. Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't have any weird impact. Because I put like a URL in the same accounts area. And hopefully it's not like causing a weird redirect. Right? I think I did that. Let's take a look. URLs. So we have accounts. And then I've got the create the checkout session also under accounts. Let's make sure that not everything under accounts gets redirected. Okay, I think we're still good. Oh, you know what? It wouldn't matter anyway, because URL patterns resolve in order. So if we hit this one, it's going to be before we get to anything from all auth. So we'd be okay. I'm pretty sure. All right. Interesting. New providers. There's so many providers here. Ooh, that's cool. A honeypot field. Real users. But do I need the field? Or is it just extra? I think it might just be extra. Okay. That's cool though. So spam accounts can be a problem. And one way that bots are dumb is they just fill out all the form details that they can find. And if you fill out this honeypot field, which is what that is, it's like, oh, you're clearly a spam account because it's not visible to anybody. And it means that you are a bot. Or it means that you're most likely a bot. Okay. I think all that looks good. This was for this 60.0, right? Yeah. Neat. Confirm. All right, we're done with those. Ready to go back to it. How's the stream quality? Still doing okay? Not great. Sorry, y'all. My internet connection is not awesome. I need to figure that out. Haven't had time. All right, so what are we trying to do now? Now we're a palette cleanse over. It's 15 minutes or so. We need to, for active accounts, well, let's clean up our workspace here. Let's get rid of some of these files. We want to go back to our settings page, which is here. And we don't need that. And we don't need that. So we need to make this link work. So I'm going to use the homeschool project as a reference here because I don't remember. I don't remember if it's just like create a session or if it's like something special. I don't even remember what I called it on this project. Probably settings. Well, there we go. So we've got the settings URLs, which has I named it settings dashboard. Hey, maybe that's a better name than what I called it this time. Okay, let's go look at the view. Profile. Well, how do I cancel? Because I did some stuff here. Look at the profile form. Oh, wow. Okay, that settings page does not have what I had expected. Maybe it's all in the actual like dashboard itself. Settings, which would be kind of cool. Maybe less work for us to do. Ooh, I'm also a better thinker apparently than I was then. Manage your billing information. That's way better language than what I was talking about. So your billing information is managed in Stripe. There we go. And I should tell, all right, that's just way better. Come on, Matt. Weak sauce. So let's just be a little bit more direct here, or use the same kind of style. Put this in here, and then we can, oops, that's crafting interpreters. That's from earlier. Did the wrong kind of copy. Paste that in. All right, so ID is manage billing. Manage your billing information at the Stripe customer portal. That sounds great. Then that lets us get rid of this. Please follow the link below, because it's. I think what it does is when you can use a link that is actually conveying. This is another thing I learned from my product person. Don't say click here. Like there's a couple of downsides. I mean, first it sounds cheesy. Like it just does. But it also leads for a really small target to click. Think about that. Like that word is like this big, and you know, it does lead to accessibility issues. So you want kind of your links to be a good chunky size so that it's easy for your users to do stuff. And also, if you say what you're going to do and like it becomes the action, like the user will naturally know to do that. Rather than saying like click here is always like, well, it's kind of indirect. Like I'm clicking here to do the thing over there that they said I was doing, which is never great. All right, so we've got underline. Let's take all of this and yank to, whoops, or delete to the end, but that's okay. We can paste it up here. Paste. And we've got that. Let's see how it looks. Well, I realize that's just an anchor, like an anchor tag just hanging out. So let's close it with paragraph tag and then ditch that thing. All right. Cool. We need to pip install our new requirements. Let's get those going. Good. And then we can fire things up here. Everything should still be working fine. So you can see we've got our new G unicorn. It's great. Gotta go fast. All right. There we go. Manage your billing information at the Stripe customer portal. I like it. Simple, effective, and we can style it a little cleaner if we want to later. But I think it says what it needs to say. All right, so now what do we do with that? The thing that we have to do is probably related to here, manage billing. Let's see how that's used. Manage billing. All right. So we've got this thing that checks. Ooh, I attached that to the request, really? Yikes. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna steal this code because it does what it's supposed to do. I'm sure, because I tested it in the past. And I don't really have like a good mechanism for testing the JavaScript stuff. So I have somewhere like on the index template. I don't know, remember if I called it scripts or scripts. Yep, call it the same thing. So we've got a scripts section. And that's how we can add this. So we can basically copy this whole block and put it over here. All right, so this will fail though, right here. It's gonna fail on this create billing portal session because we don't have that. But the idea is we're going to, when this is clicked, it's going to run some JavaScript instead of running just a regular fetch because it doesn't know the URL to go to. That's the challenge. This is given to us by Stripe. So we will do a click, we'll prevent the default action, and then we will do a fetch call and post with all of this information that's already there. And then what happens with the create billing session is what I did is in that JSON thing that comes back, I added a URL attribute is where it's going to go because that's where we're going to get from the Stripe API. So we'll put this in here right now. Like I said, it should fail. It should say like that URL doesn't exist. Yep. It's mostly correct. The subscriptions is not a registered namespace. It's not quite the error message I thought, but it's on the right track. So we want to do this. Actually, let's go ahead and this is the thing we know we are going to want is the create billing portal session. And let's look at how we did this on the homeschool app. Mohammed, do I know about Power Pages? No. Tell me more. I mean, maybe I don't know by that name. Or if it's a specific technology, then the answer is no. But if it's a concept, I might, but I just don't recognize the name. All right, so back at the homeschool app here, we've got our subscriptions. So we've got our subscriptions URLs probably. And then we've got create checkout session, create, and then we've got the Stripe billing portal. Excellent. So we're going to continue to keep it simple here. I could be carving this up into better places, but so far I've just been attaching everything to the top URLs, and that's fine. Like there's as you get farther along, you're going to come to moments where you can start pulling things out into their own sections. I don't need to do that yet. I'm okay leaving stuff here as kind of like top level URLs. It's not going to be a complex app. So this actually helps with conceptually understanding everything that's going on. Because if you look at this, there are, aside from the external apps, there are no other apps that I'm bringing in here. You know the whole application by looking at this single file. It's pretty powerful, especially for simple applications. So we want to make a create billing portal session, right? And we want it to model it after like this path here. So let's do that. We'll come over here and we'll keep it with the accounts section, and we'll keep it with this. Why not? So we've got a view. I'm going to pull in that view in a minute. We'll do this. We want Stripe billing portal. Fine. It's going to be a post to that. It's going to get back a URL. That's all good. I could do this if I wanted to, accounts, if I cared. I guess that gives it a little bit of symmetry here. Doesn't really. All right, so now we need to create this thing. So we've got the create checkout session. Let's do create billing portal session. And the billing portal, if in case it wasn't obvious, is that place where you can manage your Stripe account, where you can say like, you know what, I want to switch from monthly to annual. And I don't think we configured that right now, but in the future we might want, like, maybe you want to switch your plan. But it's also would be where you want to cancel. Okay, so we don't have that view, but we have, so this code should now be functional. Create billing portal session. We'll go to this path, and as soon as we actually create this view, we should be in good shape. Let's do that now. We can come up here, billing. So let's see what it does. So this calls my gateway in this side. All right, so there's some work here. All right. Pretty simple. I like it. We want to copy this stuff, and we will bring it into our accounts views. I'm going to put it with stripey bits. We don't have any like real serious authorization stuff yet, so that's from my other package that we'll bring in later. I've got an issue for that, but we're not going to do that right now. So for now, we're going to use the login required decorator. The other bit that we're not doing currently is using Stripe gateway. I think we called it payment gateway. So payment gateway. No. Gateway? Or am I not? Gateway. Well, that's kind of a dumb name, Matt, because you might have other gateways in the future. Whatever. Oh, you create an instance. I see. Okay. So we can do this. This is going to create gateway. And we do gateway. And here, okay, create billing portal session. That's the thing we want to replicate. Create billing portal session. That's the view. Here's the gateway. Okay. We need to get the customer. This is where having the DJ Stripe comes in handy. So that's the actual customer object that gets replicated over. Is that the best way to get it? Good question. Don't know. So we, in our app, made a change. We did not have this email attribute. So that's really just, in this app, it's just like a pass through back to the user. But I think I just said, no, you know what, forget that. We're going to connect things to our user. So here, when we do this, we're actually going to just do request.user, which will be the real user, and get the email from there. And we can create this gateway method. And why not just keep on the path? This has actually been instructive to me, figuring out all the bits that we still need. Packages it up all in the right way. I don't have to think super hard about it, which is handy sometimes. We want to go to our gateway. It's our payments gateway, and come down here and add in this guy. Okay. So we don't want an account. We want to use a user, and that will be a user instance. And we're going to return a string. That's what that URL is from Stripe. And ooh. All right, we've still got Stripe here. Yeah, here's the difference. Because of how we started this application, we're not configuring the secret key at like startup time. It's fetched in this parameter. So all of our API calls need to provide the key during the call because it's not configured at the module level. So in our session down here, in order for this to actually work, we're going to need to provide API key like so. API key equals secret key. Otherwise, it's just not going to fly. So we can do API key equal self.secret key. We're going to need that. All right. And then we don't have a settings dashboard. We'll have, what do we call it? Account settings? That's what we call the route, right? Yeah, nope, just settings. So what's going to happen anyway, is saying like, if you want to come back, this is how you come back. You get the current URL, and you put a return URL, which is the settings page, and you come back to that page. And there's probably another use of site up here. Yep, get current. Okay, so I know that's the right method. So to finish this off, we're going to need to get the customer, which is in DJ Stripe models. So customer. Whoa. Good grief. Try again, Matt. Customer. My brain like couldn't even process that spelling. All right. So our billing portal session method is complete. It's not going to work if we don't have a customer object. So this call is going to, like, if we try this, I bet this would fail, like blow up in our face and say like, hey, I don't have a customer for that, which it should. So I think what I want to do, what I probably am going to do is, well, I was going to say I was going to deploy it and then test it, but again, my account is exempt, so I'm in this weird situation where I can't really test on my production site. We really do need to test this in test mode. and see if I can get it that way. So we might have to to do this properly to make sure that we can get to the portal at least one time, which we should do. We should verify that it works. We'll have to make sure that Stripe is configured correctly locally, which I can do. And then create a test account, sign up. What a joy that is. So we'll actually have a Stripe customer. It's not going to create a real customer record though. So we're going to have to fictitiously create a record that points to that customer that we created on the dashboard. And then go to the admin, create that customer record in the admin. Yeah, although, okay, maybe not. We can do, I think we can get around this. I think since we'll have the test settings, I think I should be able to there's a management command that should help us out here from DJ Stripe. So the sync models thing. Oh, there's one even better. This must be like a common problem, y'all. DJ Stripe sync customers. It must be just the customer syncing, which is cool. Let's read the details, make sure I'm not just making weird assumptions. Sync customers. Sync subscriber data with Stripe. Okay, it's probably what we want. I don't want the prod customers though. I don't need to be sharing that. I don't need that accidentally in this local database. So, but I guess it'll be controlled by the configuration that I have in my .env file, which should be just test keys. So if we create the customer through local testing and actually have it up on that side and then pull that data down, we should get that same customer. All right, so I feel good about this. Do we want to just do this before? All right, let's do, hold on. We've got a view. It gives us the URL. We've got the payment method that we think is going to do the right thing. We've got the URL hooked up. That's cool. We have the proper link now. That scripts block is wrong. We need to go fix that. So let's go back to settings, sorry. And down here, we want not request an account. That's not right. We want if user.account status, and it's not called account status here, it's just called status. So if you are directly in that status, you're active. That's what we want. We'll have a CSRF token. I don't know why we needed this. Oh, I know. Never mind. I know why we needed it. We're doing a post here. Okay, let's fire it up. See how it goes. I expect it to blow up, but I expect it to blow up at the accessing the customer thing way deep in the gateway, which would be good. So here we are. Let's view the page source. So we've got manage billing. We've got our script section down here. There's a CSRF token. It's going to account Stripe portal. Cool. Let's bring up the console, or the network failure is going to show up as a 500 right here is what I predict. I'm not actually going to see anything here. Yep. So we get a 500 response. And if we look at the response here, this is where we're going to see a Django page. Yep. And it says customer matching the query doesn't exist. That's exactly what we expected. It's good. Very good. All right, so that gives me enough confidence that I think we're ready to try this out. I think the other thing that we have with confidence, no, we did not get to the Stripe call because we got hung up on this customer bit. Yeah. So let's go through the process. See if everything's still working. We upgraded some stuff. Let's see if it goes, how it goes. So I'm going to, what am I going to do? Let's go create a private session. We'll go to localhost 5006. So we're pretending to be a brand new user. And we're going to sign up. We're in a public beta. Oh, great. There's 58 spots open. Awesome. So we're going to sign up as, we'll say, billing portal at testing.com. And the password is witty pero for historical reasons that I have in my past. Please check your email. Confirmation email sent to billingportal@testing.com. Oh, that's pretty pleasant. I'm digging it. All right, so over on this side, assuming everything went according to plan. Oh, did it send a real email? Boo, I think I might have the other. Okay. Maybe failed attempt here. I'm going to stop this. We should have seen some email output show up here, but I have a feeling that I left up the email configuration for some previous testing we did. So I'm going to put on the secrets page. I'm going to look at the env file here and check. I'm looking for what email backend are we using. And we are using the real email backend right now. So I think we just sent a SendGrid email to testing.com. That's not going to go anywhere. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Email backend is now set to the console backend. And I will bring back this. We'll start this back up. So unfortunately, that means that that account didn't go anywhere that I wanted to. Let's take this guy and go to the admin page. What are you doing? Come on. Stop, Google. Stop it. Token. So we've got token admin, and we've got that user. And here's the billing portal account. Let's go ahead and delete it, because I want to use the same one. This is a good, memorable name. So here's everything that's getting deleted with that. The billing portal, user itself, the email address, and the account. Cool. Cleaned up. Okay. Let's go back to our private session. Let's go back. Here. Okay. Time to try again. 58. Billing portal at testing.com. We're really kind of like checking out most of the life cycle at this point. Signing up. And great. Now we've got it came to the console. And then we needed to come to console because my app requires an email verification, because it's critically important that I get a confirmation from you before I start trying to send you email. Otherwise, it's not going to go well for my sending process, and I'm going to lose sender reputation. So we're going to synthesize as if we'd gone in and clicked the email, and we're clicking the account confirmation link, which is this long thing. Great. So you have confirmed. That's a little awkward, but hey, it works. So if we refresh that, those messages will go away. Now we're here, we've used it a couple of weeks, we're like happy, we're ready to activate the account. So I'm going to click this and take me to Stripe. We're in test mode, that's good, good confirmation. We've got a trial here. It's got our email address. This is important because this will be connected to the customer object that will be created. And we're on Stripe, and one of their test accounts is just a bunch of 4.2 in sequence. 4.2, 4.2, 4.2, 4.2, 4.2. Okay, that should be everything. And then we can do, let's say 11, 24, 1, 2, 3. Billing, customer is the name. So let's see, do 90210, because why not? Save my info, no, and start a trial. All right, so it's trying to send me back. It sent me back to the wrong port number. That's because I have that. That's what's plugged into the site config is port 5001. So what it would have sent me to, had everything worked, actually that's also not going to work because it's trying to send to HTTPS, because Stripe, that's what Stripe is doing. So we're not doing HTTPS. So if we're like pretending that this worked like everything should have, it should have come to, oh, come on now. Now you're just not being cool. Port 5006, the success page. This is where it should have ended up. Your account is now active. Thank you for signing up. Go back home. So this is an active account, or it should be. It's not showing as active because the thing that does the actual activation on the other side is a webhook. So like we as a customer signed up, and in the real system, the way that JourneyInbox, the real website, knows is that Stripe calls a webhook that comes back to our site just during this process while the user's like clicking some buttons and flipping the account status from trialing to active. So we have to synthesize that now because we don't have that webhook set up. So, but we should have a customer on the Stripe side. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to refresh this page, and we'll go to the accounts actually. So we've got our billing portal as a user, and notice it still says trialing. We're going to pretend we're an active account because it's important on that settings page, right? So we want to set it to active, and we'll say save and continue editing. We might delete this later, so it won't really matter. And then we can go back as our user to the settings page. All right, so this link right now will not work because we don't have that customer account. Again, Stripe is calling our webhook for all kinds of events that are happening. One of those events was the creation of a new customer. That customer exists on the Stripe side, or it should, but it does not exist on our side here. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to go, I'm just going to assume that Stripe actually created that customer. We saw the Stripe page, it processed everything. I have no reason to doubt that that customer now exists with the billing information at testing.com. So what we need to do is to complete the synthesis, this synthetic scenario is to go get that customer information. So let's go over to our terminal again. Oh, come on now. And we're going to shut down the server for a minute so that we get access to the terminal. And because I don't know what's going to fly by on here, I'm going to put the secrets mode on. Well, actually, I'll put out the command first. So manage DJ Stripe sync customers. I'm going to run this with no help flags, and I think that should pull over, hopefully, just the test data. We'll see. So secrets is on. You can still hear me. I'm running the command, and oh, it has an invalid secret test key. So let me check the environment stuff. We don't have this configured for local testing stuff. All right, so how do we have any confidence that that actually created a real customer then? Do we? I'm sorry, I'm staring at some Stripe keys here. Oh, because they're in the database. That must be why. Okay, so I'm hesitant because these are like the secret of secret, right? Like I cannot show you my Stripe secret keys. So I'm going to leave secret mode off. I'm just talk you through what I'm doing. I'm going back to the admin, and I'm going to the API keys section. So I can see that there is a test secret key in here that says it's a real looking key. So I'm surprised it failed. The publishable key also looks real. Yeah, Manas, I know that the screen is blank. I'm showing some secrets right now, or I'm looking at some secrets right now, and I cannot share my screen. So that is intentional. Sorry. So we have something that is not pulling the right key here. So what I'm going to try and do quickly is go back to that env file that I just was at. What a painful process. Sorry, y'all. Because I need to have the admin running. I guess I could launch another tab. All right, let me leave the admin running. And then I'm going to launch another tab, open the env file that was causing the problem. I'm going to put in the Stripe test secret key. That's the one that we need. Or that's one of the ones that we need at least. Probably the one that's needed for pulling this data. I'm copying the secret key value and I'm pasting it into the .env file. I'm closing that file so that I don't accidentally show off anything. The other thing I need to do, because I hate key rotation, it's so annoying. I'm going to get out of this API keys page. I'm going to move to a whole different section just so I don't accidentally show something. And then, all right, still here, I promise. So I'm going to run that command again. And hopefully it will succeed this time and actually pull down that customer data. So I'm going to switch back to the secrets key, but just so you see my face. All right. So now I am stop the web server again. I'm going to run the manage command of DJ Stripe sync customers and let it run, see what happens. So it says it's syncing matt@testing.com, testing@somewhere.com, testing2@somewhere.com. So it is going through, it says there are 30 of these. No way. Oh, you know what it might be doing? It might be syncing all of my local users and assuming that all of them have customers. So, man, that's annoying. I was hoping that instead it would query and say like, hey, Stripe, what are the customers that you have? But I guess you could have an equally annoying problem where if you had 1 million customers in your test data, you wouldn't want to pull all of them down. Is there anything that I cannot show in that screen? Oh, it all looks good to me. All right, so here's what it looked like. I ran this command, pulled down all these test accounts. So with any luck, we should be able to look at a customer, and there shouldn't be anything secret or sensitive about the customer. So let's do this. Let's bring up this, and let's go back to the admin. What I want to do is go find the section of customers and see what's there. We should have one, at least one for the billing info. Wow, look at all these. No way. No way. Really? Did we really create all these? I mean, I guess. Maybe it was just pulling all the customers. I did not think that that would have happened. No way did I go through all these tests and actually fill out that form that many times. Don't believe it. Okay, whatever. So here we are. We've got the billing portal customer. And not in live mode, so it's test data. It's the subscriber number. There's a bunch of stuff in here. I don't think any of this really matters, except that we will now be able to create a proper URL that should take us to test mode. So let's go back to our private session here. I'm going to refresh this page. I don't know that I need to. Well, maybe I do because of CSRF tokens. So if this works properly, what we're going to see is, and in fact, we can bring up the network tab and, oh, what setting do we need to like not clear stuff. I can never remember if this means like keep it or pause. Does this mean like record it, or does this mean pause it? The messaging on this, the UX is always like, does that mean I want to keep it going? Like probably. That's when you press it, right? So it's going to record everything. All right. Anyway, so we should see this like successfully do a post. We'll should get a 200 response, and there should be a redirect because that's what we're doing on that JavaScript code down here. Is after the post on the then handler, it converts it. It knows that the body is JSON, so it converts it into a JSON object, and then it hands it off to another function that has the actual data, which has a URL attribute. And that's the URL attribute. We know it's URL because that's what we put in here. And that's that portal URL. And by doing this little trick here, it's not a trick, it's well known. By setting window.location.href, what you do is you're telling the browser, hey, do a redirect right now to what do I have? And it should redirect us to the portal with any luck. All right, so let's click the button, see what happens. 500. What happened? It did not go the way we wanted it to. You can't create a portal session in test mode until you save your customer portal settings in test mode. What? What does this mean? Until you save your customer portal settings in test mode. What the heck are they talking about? Let's go to this link and find out. Okay. Yeah, those other ones, I don't know, John. Like, I suppose they could have been factory created instances, and then, but we know for a fact the billing portal was not. We went through a different process for that. This is going to take us to my dashboard, so I got to turn on secrets because I'm sure it's going to make me log in, and it is. So I got to do the password manager dance. Unlock that, and then go into Stripe, and then do the two-factor authentication. I'm glad it's secure, but it sure is a pain. Stripe, and then punch in a code here. I'm looking at test data. Maybe I do. Maybe there's something that I have to configure. Oh, okay. Looking for something sensitive. Again, I'm like super paranoid with these Stripe things. Okay, I think it's safe. So it sounds like we don't necessarily get this right away, which is good. That we're like, if I hadn't tested this and I just launched it live, poor John, who's one of the customers trying it out, he might try and be like, "Hey, Matt, it doesn't work, dummy." Which it should be like egg on my face. So I think we might have to do this, and then I might have to flip it over to live mode and do the same thing, perhaps. So activate a link to put on your site or send directly to your customers. Activate? Well, what did that do? That's not what I want. That doesn't seem right. I'm confused. Customer portal. It's just like not a thing for test mode. Like, do they send everybody to the same place? Allow customers to view and update their billing information. Yes, I want all of those features. So that's right. Cool. Invoices. Show invoices. Sure, why not? Payment methods. I can manage other payment methods in the future, but that's a good starting point. Allow customers to cancel their subscriptions. Of course. Do not want to be locking people in. It's not the objective. I don't have other plans right now, so it doesn't make sense to set this yet. Those things are fine. All right, so I don't know what this was. They sent me here. I clicked this thing and it saved it. Maybe that's all I needed to let it do its thing. I'm not sure. I'm going to put it on secrets mode and then look at the same page in live mode and see what happens. So I'm up in the corner. I'm clicking the test mode toggle. So it says it's the same thing we saw before, which is activate a link to put on your site. So I'm going to click this again. Well, actually, this time maybe I should just click the learn more, which we probably should have done in the first place. Activate the no code. All right, what am I doing? I can bring this, look at the docs together. Activate the no code customer portal. Set up Stripe's customer portal with a no code configuration. Activate a link that you add to your website or share with your customers, allowing them to self-manage their payment detail. All right. Is it like the same link for everybody? I thought it'd be like unique links, and then but maybe it's not. Maybe it's like, here's a link, and I don't know, man. I don't get it. Well, we'll see. You know what we'll see? This will be the test. What I didn't show you there is well, maybe you saw it actually. When I clicked the activate button, it gave like a billing test underscore, and there were some numbers. I think what we'll find out is if I do that, are we going to see that same exact link for like what shows up in the redirect? Or is it going to be like that same exact link, but have like a query string parameter that says email, billing info at blah, blah, blah. KG, yeah, you're probably onto something there. So I think it's weird to me that you have to activate this. That's the part that like weirds me out. All right, so I'm gonna put the secrets back on because I gotta go activate it for the production site because it's different apparently. So I'm activating that, and it's a login. Okay, it looks kind of nice. It's like billing.stripe.com, blah blah blah, and then it's got a thing that I'm almost positive I should not read on the internet. Some kind of token looking thing that's there. I'm going to switch it back to test mode because this is not secretive in the same way, and bring back the scene. And so y'all can see like this is what it looks like, and it's got this test 8W-M9 business. I don't think I need to copy this. Like this is what I don't understand. Like maybe you can go directly from there, which that's actually kind of cool, like a super low code. But we're going to access it through the API, which I assume is just going to be this as the URL that we actually get from the API call. So let's try again. Let's go back to our session. We're going to clear this out. We're going to refresh the page. Not that I think we need to. Actually, just clear it out again. And now click the button. So, all right, cool. Look at that. So it's like a test. Got us this session. Something much longer. And so I kept this up on purpose because I wanted to see where we're going. So we got a post, and in the response, oh, come on. Where's the response? No way. No way. Well, I guess when it did the switch to a different domain, maybe it like lost the data. Why is this? Whatever. Okay. So we did a post and it had a URL in it. And it must have been this URL because that's what we redirected to. So it redirected to exactly this URL. So it didn't change. It was just a long thing. So they must be doing some kind of encoding where building off of top of that portal session URL that we had. They made a session out of this. Now let's look at the details. So we've got JourneyInbox, test mode. JourneyInbox partners with Stripe for simplified billing. And then here, if we had signed up for real, this is where this would be the credit card on file. We show like the 42, 42, 42 thing. So cool. That is exactly what I wanted to accomplish tonight. I wanted to give people the ability to say, hey, you know what? I'm ready to discontinue this. Not really clear for me how you actually stop from here. Well, there's update information. They're like a cancel. No, that's that. So maybe it doesn't. Oh, you know what it is? This is still technically a trial because I signed up with this and started a 15-day trial. So there's not an active account yet. Oh, that's interesting. John, I might poke you later. I know that you have an active account. After I deploy this, I might want to solicit your feedback on this portal if it tells you everything you need to. Because if it doesn't, I mean, I'm kind of like leaning on you, John. Sorry if that's unfair. So you can see at least the return URL sends us back to that settings page. It's not going to work because that's to the site thing that we have configured, so it's the wrong port and it's for HTTPS. But this is, I'm feeling good that the confidence. I have a high degree of confidence that this is sending us to the proper billing portal. It's doing it in the right way. So the rest of what I want to do for this evening to wrap things up is to write a couple of tests to actually get this under some kind of unit testing to give us the test coverage to pair with this to make sure that we're checking those boxes. And then I think we'll call it a night, and that'll be a good place to cap this for the evening, because it will be the full set of settings stuff that we needed for this session. While I'm here being on Stripe still, I'm going to go ahead and delete that customer and then actually other customers that I might find. So let me put this back on secrets. I don't know that it matters again, but I'm going to do it for a moment. And yeah, all of those things created like real customers. So what the heck happened? That's very strange. I'm going to just delete these bunch of customers en masse because I don't want them. And it wasn't even all of them probably. There's like multiple pages of customers here. Okay. Deleting 20 customers right now. Yeah, there's nothing sensitive about this, so bring it back. So I just went boom, delete. There was a little delete button, and now it's going through that. Okay, while that's running, we can stop this. And we can see this is our set of changes that really I mostly copied. And I've told myself that if I do a third app, it will be time to like create a common project. So I'm not recreating this stuff. There should be a prepackaged SaaS thing. I know these exist, but I would want my own because I'm peculiar like that. But having a library that I could just lean on, being like, here are a bunch of built-in views that you can just use, that would be nice. So let's try running the test suite. We're going to see that we're missing coverage. And we're going to miss it for the gateway. We're going to miss it for that view, all that sort of stuff. So we should get a gateway test. We should get a view test. There'll be a couple view tests, I guess. Or will there? No, this is just the settings page continued. So I'm wrong. There will be a new view test for the portal session here. And for this, we'll want to mock out the payments gateway like we did with, I'm sure we tested the checkout session. So we should follow that pattern because the view really does not care about Stripe. It cares that it got a URL from a gateway. That's what mattered. So with that is something that we can test for sure. We'll start there. test views, and we've got the accounts view here. And I guess a lot of these are the same. We want, we want a bunch of these things. So let's copy this whole class. The difference here is this view does not need to pass in any data. There's no data used here. There's no processing of this. So this data attribute is bunk, like it doesn't matter. So for our point of view, we can say, get rid of that. We don't even care that it's not a JSON post. That doesn't matter. We want to shorten this thing because why not? And then the URL, what was the URL again? Create billing portal session. Good grief, what a mouthful. Create billing portal session. We will want a requires post check, and then we will also want to test the authenticated route here. And that was going to require more work. We'll get down to that in a minute. All right, so the first one, let's test on unauthenticated. This should pass. That's good. Same thing should be true for the requires post. And that's basically testing that we've got these decorators that are protecting this stuff, because we don't want this page being called and trying to get a user that doesn't have any of this stuff. All right, so now we get down to the payments gateway bit, and we have the gateway. We're going to do gateway. When we call create billing portal session, we want it to return a portal URL. And then we install that gateway as the class calls value. So essentially this line here on 71 is what makes this call to create an instance return this mock that we set up. And then that mock is then configured to return a portal URL. Hopefully that makes enough sense. We're going to force a login, and we don't need the data in this not JSON. So we get that. We're going to get a 200 response, and we want to assert that the create billing portal session, we want to assert that it was called with the user. That should be the same. And then finally, the last thing that we need to check is that it's got the URL and it's equal to the portal URL. This is a pretty straightforward test, not too complicated. There's some stuff about mocking and stuff, which is maybe might trip some people up. I'm not generally a fan of mocking, but I also did not want to invest in a big dependency injection framework in order to do this in a different way. So a lot of people will frown on mocking, but for this simple app, it's going to work just fine. All right, so that's that. The other thing we want to do is, I guess, check the billing portal code. Let's make sure that our views are hit at this point. I think that should be everything for the views file. Should have one. No. Ooh. Yuck. What happened? What? What's going on? How do I not have coverage in a test file? That's weird. 11 to 19 is missing coverage now. Okay. I can see how. I stopped checking the other class. I didn't rename the class. That's my fault. This is why we run our tests locally. Okay, much better. That's what I expected. So this is really 89 through 97. That is almost, without a doubt, our new method to create that. It's this guy. That's the body of it, starting at 89, down to here. So we want to go to our, there's got to be a test for the gateway. We've got, so there's testing the creation sessions, probably the pattern we want to follow here. Okay, we'll just pull all that for a moment. And we'll put a new test here. And we'll say test create, because it's like the same sort of thing. Billing portal session. Gets a valid billing session URL. Okay. Good. So right now this test should pass because it's literally the same code as before, but that's not what we want, right? We want to create a billing portal session. We want to pass in a user. And so we don't, what do we need? We're calling this, we're getting the keyword arguments out. We're passing in, there's an okay. This annoying indirection aspect here. We might have to create a factory to make that work. I don't know that we have that. Shoot. Okay. So we're going to need a factory out of this. Do I have a factory from the homeschool app? I do. All right, let's take this. And we want to bring in the customer model. Okay. So that at least gets us some nice IDs that kind of match up with the Stripe style. And then we want to go back to our test. And the important part is we need to create a customer instance here. So we want a customer that matches the customer factory. And we want to pass it. Oh gosh, is it a user? It's based on email. Email is the user email, I guess. Okay, so now getting down to the actual, like, what got called. We've got the mock Stripe. We're calling not checkout, calling the billing portal, calling session, we're calling create, we got the call words, and they're all keyword args. Okay, that's good. I don't care about the API key bit. That bit is going to be there. We do care about customer, which is going to be the customer ID. It's a little bit like, I'm not crazy about this. Like it feels like we're just kind of mirroring some of the implementation, which, yeah, gross. But kind of what we need to do in the moment. We're going to need to set this to be junk. It's not it doesn't look like a dictionary coming back. Because up here it had you got a checkout section and it had like a dictionary like structure. Down here it is a session like object. So then we need to pass in a URL. So that's going to complicate that. That's annoying. It's okay. We can make yet another mock. So we'll call it mock session equal mock dot magic mock, and mock session URL is going to be equal to portal URL, and then we can set that to be the mock session. Almost there, y'all. Don't need that. We don't need those. The session ID, that's not going to be a session ID coming back. Instead, it's going to be the portal URL, right? So we want to check that the portal URL is equal to the string portal URL. And I think that's it. Nope. Oh, boo. Didn't quite get it. So didn't wire everything up exactly right. Because it's still connected to checkout. Billing portal. This is what you get for copying tests. Sometimes you make goofy mistakes. All right. Great. It passed. Well, let's run the tests. Everything's at 100%. Awesome. So we're going to review this diff really quickly. And I'm going to go ahead and commit. Or, sorry, deploy. Like, why not? Let's get this out there in case anybody else wants to try it out. So we got some tests that test that the billing portal session stuff works. Very simple view. Does 3 things. 2 of those things are related to gateway stuff. We've got the actual gateway method, which is not crazy complicated. New factory that we can use, and then we've got a test for that, which is a little complicated. The tests are actually probably more complicated than the code. Yeah. Hooked up the path, fixed up the template to be nicer, and then hooked up our status stuff. Yay. Although I'm noticing now, settings, yeah, okay, let's get rid of that. Yeah, cool. So run the test again before we finally commit. All right. And then that all worked. So we'll say add ability to go to customer billing page, billing portal. And this will fix, what was it, 104? Send to Stripe. Yep. Okay. Nope, not 1-4, 104. All right, so there's that. Oh, come on. What do we have? Oh, it hadn't pulled it all off. Okay, fine. I guess technically that could break. Let me just one sanity check before I deploy. Get the new packages, Django all auth, and run the test one more time for sanity's sake. I would be shocked if there's a failure here, but you never know. Okay. Feel pretty confident we can deploy. I'm almost positive that it's not going to log into Heroku. So I got to do this little, I'll show you what I'm about to type. I'm not going to hit enter though until but I'm going to do Heroku login. It's going to prompt me to go to Heroku. On the return, it's going to show my email address, which I'll have to clear off the screen, and then I can do an actual deploy command. So hitting the secrets button, doing Heroku login. It is taking me to a browser. I'm pressing the login button. I'm going to Heroku. I'm doing 2-factor authentication because, of course, I can't wait for a world where this is easier. I think passkeys I've heard might help with that front, but I'm not sure. So, yep, that's done there. And yep, there's my email address for the whole world to see. Let's clear that out. We're back. we'll do a make deploy. It's going to push this up to Heroku main, and that's how Heroku knows to trigger a deploy. There might be a call here when we get to the Python part to update the runtime. No, okay, there's not a new version of Python yet. So we're on the latest version of Python, that's good. Or at least the latest version that Heroku has, which I think is pretty up to date. And doing all the package stuff, getting it going. But one thing I didn't get to, I forgot to talk about this. Last time I did stream, I tried to make an import endpoint. Maybe I should just take the 5 minutes to fix this. I made the endpoint for myself because I'm trying to get off this other service that I've been using for a long time. I have a JSON file that has all of my entries, and I want to use this import endpoint, as a mouthful, to import my data, and so that I can turn off this other service I'm using. It's only costing me $5 a month, basically, which is exactly what JourneyInbox would be. But it'd be nice to not be paying for that since I'm using this one. I'm already paying like the $16 a month for hosting fees here. So if I could get rid of a set of $5, that helps defer some cost here. Anyway, talking small dollar amounts, but that's the nature of this project. But I tried it and it failed, and it failed in a way that in hindsight was like, duh. And it failed because it didn't do, and I couldn't do CSRF stuff. So it's a JSON post, but I couldn't get it to go with CSRF things going. So what I'm going to do very quickly is we'll go to Django project, and I'll show you there's a decorator I want to add. And the decorator is called CSRF exempt. Now this is something you should be very careful with. You're essentially saying, I don't want to do CSRF protection. I want this endpoint, this view, to be exempt from that process. And that sort of like voids your warranty sort of from the view's perspective. But I know that this particular view is just for me. Like I think I even put it on requires staff or something like that. So it's literally only my account that can do this. So I'm okay with taking that a bit of risk for this situation. So let's go do that really quickly, is add this decorator so that I can actually try and upload my data during the week, because again, I'm trying to commit to doing all the code on here. So we want to go to, where did I put it? I put it in the entries views. We've got here, so you can see like it's just for me. I've got a bunch of issues in here. Like this is not meant to be a high quality production endpoint. So I want to take this decorator and apply it. We'll go boom, like that. Oh, come on. And then we can add CSRF exempt. And now my view should be able to accept my post request without too much trouble. So let's just run the test. Nope, not run the deploy. That's not going to do what I want. Make fcov. Yeah, there shouldn't have been any change. I wasn't testing for that stuff. So John, I have been using it. So the funny part is, like, I now have basically 6 months worth of data from JourneyInbox because I'm journaling like all the time. So it's funny how quickly that adds up. And I even, but it is more interesting to see my 10-year history of here are past entries. But because I've got both services running, I'm actually getting the daily prompt every day from both services. So I read the other service and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. So I'm still getting the enjoyment of the prompt, but I'm getting like a double prompt. All right, so add CSRF exempt so that I can upload stuff, upload entries. I'll push that up and I'll let that deploy. Cool. Let's talk about where we're going next. So we did that settings endpoint. I feel like that's good enough. That allows everybody to have the complete lifecycle. You can sign up. I mean, we did it tonight. In order to do the test, because this stuff's a pain in the butt, we had to sign up. We created the account, went through the email process. There are probably some things in there that I would improve, like the flash messages were right next to each other. I thought they'd like stack, so that's annoying. But the settings page gives you the ability, assuming we have a confirmation that you can cancel from that settings page, to do that. And so you kind of close out the life cycle here. But there are things that are not connected to your billing that you still might want. One of those things, just like an import feature, you should be able to take your stuff with you. Imagine like you were doing a journal for a couple of years and you're like, I can't afford this service anymore for some reason, or I just don't like that style anymore, but I really want my data. It would really suck if you have no ability to get your stuff out. So I want to check if I don't remember if I added this. I don't think I did. We really need an export feature. So export your entries. That's I think what is probably the most, or from like life cycle perspective, that's the most important thing to work on. The other thing I think I want to focus on that after that is I was getting feedback of like, I don't really get what the UI is doing. Like I need some help. So I think we probably do something lightweight to show like the latest entry. I'm not sure that we need to do pagination and all the navigation yet, but I did have a long-term vision of having the ability to read your entries online. I don't know if we'll get to editing right away, but if we can at least provide a read-only view, that'd be a good thing to do. All right, I think that wraps it up. So ways you can keep up with me if you want to. I'm on Twitter, or X, I guess, at MBLayman. So if you have questions, you can send me there. I have a Discord as well. So if you go to mattlayman.com, there it is. There is a Discord link up here that will take you to the Building SaaS Discord. You're welcome to ask questions there. While we're here, you can see that I've written a book on Django. You can read the whole thing. Just like I followed the model with Bob Nystrom here of making it free for everybody. So if you want to just read the content, do it. I think that'd be great. But if you want to, if you like the content, you want to support me, you can buy a physical copy or an ebook. Those are available. If you want to support me in other ways, sign up for JourneyInbox. Try it out. Kick the tires. Give it a couple of weeks. See if you like it. See if and you want to support me that way. I'd love an exchange of goods here, where it's you're getting a value out of having a journaling service that's really cool, and also I'm getting some monetary compensation for that. That would be awesome. If you're feeling more philanthropic and you just want to support me anyway for streaming, you can do so on YouTube or Patreon or whatever. There's options there. And anything else? No, I think that's all the stuff. I do have a podcast called Django Riffs that I haven't been working on for a while that I do hope to get back to. Just recently moved that over to Spotify, so I can stop paying for hosting that I wasn't using much. And I think that's it. So I don't think it's iffy if I'll be streaming next week. I'm not sure. But if I am, we'll get back to some of this other stuff. We'll work on an export page. We'll make it possible to be able to take your stuff with you. Work on the messaging of what that's like to make sure it's really clear that the user experience is really important, and that people should have an ability to trust. Not only can they safely and confidently use JourneyInbox, but they can also take their stuff with them if they're ready to move on from JourneyInbox. Thank you all for joining in this evening. Hopefully you'll learn something, and I'll see you next time. Take care.